Hello everybody, and welcome to my third and potentially final build video for a long time because I'm starting work soon. I won't be able to max out a new privateer and musketeer as this is a new account, but we do have Swashbuckler, which I think is I think dark horse is the right word of Pirate101. It doesn't have anything special going for it in my opinion. The other classes just do things that are a lot more cooler. You have your Overwatch 5, your Ready Spell 5, your Repel 5, your Vengeance 3 that stuns, and Swashbuckler just first strikes and reposts. But this build, I think, takes it to a new level. Right now, I'm at the end of Sinbad Part 1, but after recording this, I will be going through Sinbad Part 2, Part 3, Tartarus, and Cocotopia with this build, so I will be soloing Cocotopia using this build. I'll also be showing off a second, more fun build in this video that does include Cocotopia pieces, so stick around for that. But let's get into it for now. We've got the hat. I am personally running the Hermes Underworld hat. So much dodge, accuracy, weapon power, agility, and a rank of Turn the Tide. The only alternative I can see is the Salty Tricone hat that gives a second fog. There's still a lot of discussion on whether Hermes or Salty is better, and I think Hermes is better. It just gives more stats, and I think if you have a good pet that gives something like Cloud Spirit, having a second fog doesn't really matter because you could just Cloud Spirit turn 1 if you don't draw fog. And also in a lot of situations, the fight board is big enough where you can get away with not fogging the first turn. But if you have the Salty Duelist Tricone, you might as well keep it and use it because it is a pain in the ass to farm. I probably won't be farming it because, starting work when it comes back, I don't really want to farm for it, but we'll see. Other than that, I really don't think there's any good alternatives. I think Hermes and Salty Duelist are your only good options. Otherwise, your classic Mu Manchu or the Midnight, I believe it's the Midnight Shadow set. Yes, the Midnight Shadow. It gives similar stats, a little bit of more weapon power, a little bit less agility, but you're losing out on accuracy and dodge. And I think, as we've acknowledged, these new updates put a lot of emphasis on stats. Moving on to the outfits, similar situation. I am running Hermes Underworld garb. I think if you're running the shooty slashy or shooty stabby swashbuckler, you could potentially use the Bellatrix, which is a retaliate true grit. Other than that, you could use like Nightlord Scale, Mu Manchu, the Midnight Shadow, but Hermes is just that good. Similar to the Buccaneer build, the ability that this Underworld stuff gives is just not good. Taking half of your health to gain some dodge and some maneuverability is just not good. I'd rather just use my turn on something better. Now, if you could use the Hermes Speed Blitz with an additional power, like an Assassin Strike or something, I think it'd be a lot more useful, but because it's only 1 power per turn, I think it's bad, so I just put it at the bottom of my powers. Moving on to the boots, I think this is a requirement for this build to be good. It's the Lord of Trash boots. It gives 11 agility, 8 weapon power, 100 health, and a rank of Blade Storm. Very useful. This allows you to get Blade Storm 2 on a Swashbuckler, which doesn't get any Blade Storms, which is insane. Moving on to the weapons, I run Burn Swashbuckler set. This gives a Super Strike, and you might be thinking, that's not the shooty stabby one that gives Assassin Strike, and you're correct. I like the Super Strike because it's a guaranteed Blade Storm, it's a guaranteed follow through with Cerberus Collar, and I think it just helps your chains. I don't mind losing the stabby 3 weapon power, and I don't think a second Assassin Strike is that useful if you're going to be running Super Strike or like a Sniper Shot. Alternatively, you could use like Crown's gear. This Mustang guitar is a shooty slashy. It gives a Grand Shadow Dance, which I think is really fun. It also has more weapon power at the base level, but burns, I think, is just better. Haywire is better. the other burns is that good, or the Kraken's Breath set like in the Buccaneer build that gives a spirit is also incredible. Moving on to the eye patch, I am personally running Sinbad's Dashing Stripes. It gives a lot of dodge as well as a vicious charge, which I think is super useful. Alternatively, you could use something like the Smuggler's Cowl to increase your bleeds and poisons. You could use the Smuggler's Visor that gives weapon mastery, or you could use the Patch of St. Fido, which gives roughly the same amount of dodge, but also accuracy and weapon power. I don't want to spend crowns, so Sinbad's Dashing Stripes is what I'm going with. For the totem, I am running something a bit more unconventional. It's Hearsay. It's similar to the Buccaneer build. It is a crit mastery totem. I know it's not ideal, it's not perfect, but I want it to work so bad, and it's really fun. I'm actually running the Ruse one because I think having a second heal in addition to the one you can get from the privateer trainer is just really useful. It gets you out of a pinch in a solo. Otherwise, Mu Manchu is really good. The Prince of Illinois quiver with burst fire is really good, but I just think this is really fun. If you want to be super perfect about this build, something like weapon mastery or mojo mastery is better than the crit mastery.
Hey, it's me again. If you watched the Buccaneer build, you would remember that I had a little middle part where I said I was pronouncing Ilios quiver wrong, and yeah, this was recorded that same day before I edited the video and realized after many years my mistake. So yeah, Prince of Ilios quiver, not Eloi, not Ilios, Ilios. Again, like in Aquila, the place in Pirate 101. Okay, thank you.
For the charm, I am running Cerberus Collar, double tap follow through. It just lets you chain a lot more. Follow through is a guaranteed hit after your regular hit. It's guaranteed. So if you Assassin Strike, you're guaranteed to hit follow through, which can lead to your other chains like Burst, Relent, Double Tap, Blade Storm if you crit. Otherwise, you could use Sinbad's Gold Necklace. You could use the Mu Manchu stuff. You could use something like this that gives a quirky little shot. You could use this Ruse one. You could also use the Great Juju one that drops in, I believe, Aquila or Marleybone. I was using this for a long time, but I think Cerberus Collar is just that good. Moving on to the rings. It's kind of a shame. I don't think there's that many good rings for Swashbuckler, so I'm just running a Crit Mastery Sniper Shot. I think you're better off using a Weapon Mastery or Mojo Mastery Sniper Shot, which I have a Mighty Charge one, which I think is also pretty good because it allows you to do double your movement for a hit, and I think that's really nice if you're not running like the Sinbad's Dashing Stripes. Otherwise, I don't think there's really any good rings. Just use whatever you have. You'll make the most of it. It doesn't really impact the build that much. Now moving on to the pet. This is sort of the thing that ties it all together. If you want Relent 2 and Blade 2 and Burst 2, you're going to need Relent, Burst, and Blade. If you have Prince of Illinois Quiver, you don't need Burst on your pet, so you could just get away with Relent and Blade. This pet failed with a Selfish Quick Adjust, so I would hope it got something better, but this was one of the first pets on this account, so it doesn't really matter. If I could choose a fourth epic for this pet on this character, I would probably go with Elusive, which I am working on some other pets. This one has Elusive and Tide. This one has Burst and Elusive. This is not... this doesn't pertain to anything. And this one also failed with Dodgy at 50, but if it gets Blade, I don't know, maybe it could be useful. But now it is time for the fun Cocotopia build. I'm only changing a few things. Same hat, same outfit, same boots, same accessory, same totem, same ring, but different weapon. Sokar's Dagger. 245 base weapon power, 30 armor pent, elusive, and super strike. Elusive 3 if you use this and nothing else, because you can get elusive 2 from the privateer trainer. Second piece is the charm. You might be seeing it already. It is the new Guardian Scarab's Carapace. I believe I said that right. It also gives elusive, it gives tide, and it gives merciless. I will admit I don't know much about what merciless does, but bonus finishing attack versus wounded enemies sounds insane. And from what I saw on like a random Reddit comment, it allowed a companion with merciless. A companion with merciless killed an enemy in like red health. So maybe with some more testing, I should probably test this out. It's not done. You saw those elusive pets. Elusive. Let's see, which one's the best that I have? Probably just this one. It has elusive burst. This one has elusive and tide. Let's use this one as an example. So this is elusive tide. If it gets relent and blade, I would have relent 2 and blade 2, as well as elusive 5 and tide 3 on a swashbuckler. Tide 3 on a swashbuckler. That is insane. Let's go over the talents of this build first, and then we'll go back to the shooty slashy set. We've got, let's highlight the aspects of this build. So it would be relent 2 with a pet. It would be first strike 3, repost 3, merciless 1, blade 2 with a pet, elusive 5, 100% dodge, so doubling your dodge, and then 2 more maneuverability, as well as tide 3, which is 25% weapon power, accuracy, and dodge. So if you're below 50% health, you're getting a ton of boosts. Double your dodge, an additional 25%, as well as your accuracy and weapon power. That sounds really fun to me. I actually do want to try this build out. This was more of like a theory when I saw that I got this weapon and the carapace. I was like, oh, that would be a fun little build. But now that I'm actually looking at it, it does look insane, and it does look really cool. And potentially it could be better than the shooty stabby, shooty slashy for solos. But that's probably not what you're here for. Now that we're back, let's go through the powers and the talents. Fog, of course, at the top. You want fog first round if you can at possible. Sometimes you don't draw it, and that's okay. You could just use your normal walk in darkness or walk in shadows. My pet gives a cloud spirit. I think that is incredibly useful for a swashbuckler pet to give cloud spirit, because it's a first round buff you could use in addition to Fan Flanders buff. Your main hits are Assassin Strike, Vicious Charge, Super Strike, and Sniper Shot, which basically masquerades as a second Super Strike. That's enough hits to just lay waste to everyone. And then you have your backup hits like Backstab and Sneak Attack. You could also use Haywire Strike. I actually used this in my Sinbad Part 1 solo that I did last night, and that won me the game essentially. It was down to me and someone else. They were pretty close to me. I was able to Haywire Shot them. They had First Strike 3. It was one of like the rowdy pipers at First Strike 3. I Haywire Shotted them, killed them, GG. It was nice. You have your Shadow Dances and then your Survivability. I have double Ruse. One is from the Privateer Trainer. One is from Piece of Gear. And the rest of the stuff doesn't really matter. I don't think Poisons are that useful in PvE. I don't think these are that useful in PvE. This one potentially, because it allows them to react. But garbage. These are alright. Garbage. This one's fine. This is alright. This is from the Privateer Trainer. But yeah. Now let's go over the talents. If you saw the Buccaneer build, you would see that I ran naturally tough on the Buccaneer, and you might think I'd go for similar here, but I'm running spooky for the bleeds and poisons. You obviously get jump. I have Big Choppy from the Buccaneer Trainer, and this was just so I could get Smashy 2 for Relentless. But I also got Shooty 2, Staffy 2, and Slashy 2, and then there's the Smashy 2. That is so I could get Spooky 2 for the Staffy, Elusive for the Slashy, Smashy was for the Relentless, and Shooty was for the Burst Fire. Stabby 3, Pirate 3 is just from being a swashbuckler, Fast 3 from being a swashbuckler, Peaceful from being a swashbuckler, First Strike Repost and Alert from being a swashbuckler. This doesn't matter. Crit Mastery 2 is what I'm running with my wanting to be fun gear. but ideally you would have a rank of Mojo Mastery and a rank of Weapon Mastery. I have Follow Through 1. I have Tap 1, which could be Tap 2 with a better pet. I have Tide 1, which Tide 1 doesn't really do that much. It's when you start getting to the 2 and 3 rank that it becomes a lot more useful. Burst 2, 1 rank from the Clandestine Trainer, 1 rank from my pet. You could also get a rank from the Prince of Illa Quiver. Relentless, I have 1 rank from the Clandestine Trainer and 1 rank from my pet. And then I have Blade 2, 1 from the boots, and 1 from the pet. So what does this all culminate to? What are the stats? We are running 112 agility, similar to the Buccaneer. We are running 335 weapon power. That's pretty damn high for a low base weapon power weapon. And obviously we're not running stabby 3, so we're missing out on that additional 12. But we still have a lot here. Spell power, I have naturally spooky plus the 2 spookies, which give me 48 spell power. 150 accuracy, same as the Witch Doctor and Buccaneer build. 193 dodge, pretty damn high. You get dodgy 3 from the Swashbuckler Trainer, and then plus the 48 from my gear. Armor doesn't matter, magic resist doesn't matter, and then 3000 health. On the lower end, but tough 2 from the Privateer Trainer, and then Lord of Trash boots, giving 100. Pretty nice. You should be, if you're in any danger, you'll hide, or you'll have your elusive take over and you will have a lot more dodge, 25%. Or if you're running that pure stabby build, you'd have 100%. Now, what about the companions? I think Swashbuckler kind of falls to the wayside with companions. There's 2 super good ones, and then you're kind of left with like alright options. But I do think 1 is the clear winner. You have your Fan, your Toro, those are your 2 locks. These are incredible companions that will aid in everything you do. And then it's really just Contessa. It's a shame. Contessa's fun, but I don't know. She still feels meh to me because she just doesn't have enough epics to compete with everyone else. You could use Milo. He gets Vengeance 3 once you finish him with his final promotion. You could use Bonnie Yand, who gets Overwatch 3 for the reduced accuracy, which will help your reposts. And you could have Sarah Steele, but she doesn't get Relentless, and she gets a rank of Repel as her default, which is just garbage awful, which completely negates her Walk in Shadows. So I just opt not to use her. You could use Subodai. He gets Vengeance 3, as well as Relent 2, Blade 2, which is nice because it stops. If they get stunned, it stops their entire turn. But maybe we'll see something with the reworks. There's 4 good contenders for Swashbuckler companions if they do reworks. Actually 5 if you want to count Milo. And that is Mustang Sally. She needs a lot of work if she wants to be good, like Nurse Quinn levels of fixing to make her pretty useful. Milo just needs additional powers. A Super Strike doesn't cut it nowadays. I think he needs something additional. The Torador also needs the same amount of work as Mustang Sally, in my opinion. And then, unfortunately, Fragovilla, such a shame because they're such a cool companion. First Strike and Repost. They need a lot of work if they want to be useful. It makes no sense to have Salamander Backstabber and not have Backstab. I don't know what they were cooking with when they made this companion, but with just Backstab, this companion would be a lot better. I think they also need Relentless. Maybe not Bladestorm because they have First 3 and Repost, but for sure Relentless, for sure a Backstab, for sure a Walk in Darkness. But something to set them apart from Contessa. And then I think, in my opinion, the worst offender of garbage Swashbuckler companions that follows this trend of bad, garbage, awful, bad companions is Monkey King. Such an incredibly cool story character reduced to ash. It makes no sense. He is the ultimate trickster. He is Loki levels of trickery, but he's garbage. He has Repost 3 and First Strike 1 in like the optimal build, but he's just not good. And especially when you compare these to your other storyline companions like Gracie or Ratbeard, or Old Scratch or even Subodai, they get so much love, so much good epics, and they each have Monkey King. I think if he got a unique power like what he does in the Monkey King fight in the cave in Mushu, that would be really cool. It just summons like 3 Monkey Kings that do damage and have like lower health. That'd be awesome. I think he'd be good with a backstab as well, similar to Fragovilla. But yeah, I hope they do some reworks like they did with Nurse Quinn. If they do a lot more of these, I don't think 1 per update is enough. I think they need to revamp a ton of these really bad, awful companions. But this gives me hope. Nurse Quinn was useless. Now she's fine. Having Vengeance 3 makes her really useful, and having all these heals is really nice. She also gets Relent and Blade. So I think they have the capacity to make these companions really useful. They just need to give them the unique abilities and the good epics that will potentially swap them out with Contessa. And that covers this build video. This might be the final one for a long time, who knows, but I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you later.